So, welcome everyone to Learning in Action's Heal the Divide Podinar series. Today's topic is on who's coaching your client, exploring your inside team. And our guest today is Cynthia Loy Darst. I'm still getting my mouth around your name. I'm sorry, Cynthia Loy Darst. I'll edit that out. So I'm Allison with Learning in Action, and I'm joined by my colleague, Megan. Hi, Megan.
Hello.
We do these podinars because they're aligned with our mission. And our mission at Learning in Action is to heal the divide. And what that means to us is that we believe that when we heal the ways in which we're divided from ourselves, we can begin to heal the ways in which we're divided from others. And today's topic is very much integrated with this idea of how do we heal the ways in which we're divided from ourselves, because Cynthia's topic is all about getting to know how she calls our inside team. So we will talk more about that. So what the heck is a podinar? You've never heard about it. It's because we made it up. It's a cross between a podcast and a webinar. It's interview style like a podcast, and it's interactional. I made that up. Another word. I just keep making up words. It's interactive like a webinar. And our intentions today are to talk about what does the inside team refer to? What do we mean when we talk about that? And how can we determine who is on our inside team? How can we create some separation between our team members and us? How does our inside team maybe show up in our lives, in our coaching, that maybe in ways that do or don't support our coaching? How can we work with our inside team? And then we'll do a bit of a coaching demo around that to illustrate those points. And then, of course, we'll talk about how we can use all of this to enhance our coaching. Because what we really want to do with these podinars is hopefully reconnect you with why you do what you do and loving it. So with that, I'm really happy to introduce Cynthia Loy Darst. She is internationally known in the coaching world. She's one of the top 10 most influential coaches in the world. She's worked with all kinds of people to move past limitations and into fulfillment. She's been a front of the room leader for CTI and for CRR Global, and has done so since both of them began, and has played an active role in leader development for both schools. Cynthia is author of the book, Meet Your Inside Team: How to Turn Internal Conflict into Clarity and Move Forward with Your Life. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Allison. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. We're going to have a good time today.
So good. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. So tell us a little bit about like what is the inside team, and how did you come up with this idea to begin with?
Well, let me give you just a little bit of background. So, about 100 years ago, I was an actress in New York City, right? And before that, I was trained at the University of California, San Diego, in their acting training program. And in that, I studied something called transactional analysis. Now, transactional analysis is something that we actually know a lot about today. If somebody says, oh, that sounds like a critical parent voice, or that sounds like an adolescent acting out, that's sort of in the common lingo now. That's what transactional analysis was. And it was a great way as an actor to start deciphering scripts and finding out about the different personalities of characters. It helped really bring them to life. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool, right? That happened for me back in the 80s. Fast forward into the 90s, 92, I start training as a coactive coach and start moving into that world. And bit by bit, I start wondering, I wonder if there's some kind of relationship between that and coach. I couldn't see it yet. Then fast forward another 10 years into the beginning of CRR Global, which is the Center for Right Relationship, where we start working with different internal parts of us. Anyone who's done that training may know the term secret self, or but here's the thing. We all know the idea that we have parts of our personality. There's a part of you that wanted to show up for this Podinar today. And I guarantee there's at least one part of you that's like, I don't know, I'm too busy. I don't know if we should do this today. What if it's a boring Podinar? Like, we all have lots of different parts of us, thoughts that influence us in any given day. So I start training for CTI. I start training for CRR. Bit by bit, I start going, oh, here we go. This is the relationship between these parts of us. What if we now can start to not only identify that there are different parts to our personality, what if we can start to see them and then do internal relationship coaching with them, so that they're not just captivating us, seducing us, like, some schools have something called a saboteur, or a negative self-talk, and the idea there is, let's get rid of that. Well, if you've been working with saboteurs for any length of time, you start to notice that getting rid of it doesn't entirely work. So this idea, inside team, can be useful around having those voices quiet, because we start getting into better relationship with them, rather than trying to just diss them.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I appreciate about that is like all, is my belief coming out, like all people, all of our parts have a positive intent. It may not look like it at the time, but all the parts are all the people, like, even though we might think like that, it are positively intended.
Yeah. So in the theory of inside team, absolutely, we're standing in the idea that each of these parts, some of them, the useful intent's clear. Some of it, it's like, oh, good Lord, seriously? That one's so judgmental. That one's so nasty. But if we can take away some of that bullying or judging energy and look to see, is there just a little bit of wisdom? Is there a 2% usefulness? Then we can start to find out what the intention is. And that can often calm us and calm the situation, and have us be able to say, okay, how do we start to work together? The way it's been going has been awful. I don't want that anymore. How do we start to work together?
Cynthia, is there a relationship between shadows and inside team?
I'm sure there is. And I offhand, I'm not going to be able to really point to it, but absolutely there are. Well, actually, let me just process this for a second. Yeah, quite often we have some of these inside team players might be called shadow players, shadow aspects. I don't want to see myself that way, right? If somebody thought I was stupid, that would be very hard for me, Now, if they think I'm loud and overbearing, I'm used to that, so that's okay.
That's so funny. But for somebody else, that would be a shadow. Yeah.
Right. And that is one that I've sort of reclaimed over the years, because I used to absolutely get a lot of feedback that I was too much and too loud and laughed too much and all that. And when I finally said yes to it, yes, that's part of me, that's how it comes, then all of that relaxed.
I just love you saying that, and that's true for you, and that like you reclaimed that, you reowned that, you integrated that. Yeah. And I see that now. I mean, I see that in you now as such a bright, joyful, like loving, like authentic part of you. I just wanted to anchor that. Like I see that.
Thank you. Yeah. So Allison, the other day, you and I were talking about something that has helped me to shape this presentation today. Okay. And okay with you if I just sort of jump into that?
Sure.
Okay. So you and I were talking about so you and I are both in, not only do we coach, we're in the business of training coaches and developing coaches. And for those of you who are new to me, which I think is not that many of you, but for those of you that are, I've been in the coach training business for almost 28 years. And I love working with people that are absolutely new to the game. And I also love people who, I just love to work with all kinds of coaches, whatever level they're on. I'm also like an MCC mentor trainer. And so what that's about is as a coach, ideally, who do you want to be as a coach? When you think about some of the best coaches you know, how would you describe them, right? Now, for most of us, I assert, we think of someone who's centered and present and who listens well. And maybe they have a certain lightness of being or a sense of possibility, right? But what we don't usually tend to think of as a fantastic coach is someone who's going, so now what are you going to do? And I think we should move a little fast. And like, well, I don't know. I think we should fix this. What's the problem here? Like we don't want that. We don't want that. Yet, it's incredibly normal for young coaches for all of us, honestly, to be coaching someone, and pretty soon, little voices come in. Well, that was kind of a dumb question to ask. Where is this going? I don't think you're doing this right. Oh, you just said something. I think the ICF police are going to be after you in just a minute because you didn't do that right. Right? Yeah, I'm seeing a few nods of heads. You know that feeling.
Especially if, from my experience, especially if I was trying to submit a recording to ICF for something I was trying to get. I was like, I have this like policeman in the back. Oh, that was really, oh yeah, they're never going to approve this. Like, just press stop now.
Right? Exactly. And so we want to do it so well. We want to provide value. We want to do all these things. And those are great ideas, wonderful intention. But if those are the parts of us that start coaching our client, we can be in trouble fast because we lose connection and we don't really listen as well. Right?
Will you say a little bit more about losing connection? There's something really essential, I think, about that.
I'm going to say some stuff that, since we have a room full of experienced coaches here, you already know this, but I'm just going to highlight what you know here. You know that what we get to do as coaches is we get to just relax into ourselves. We get to put our attention over on our client. We get to listen deeply. In the coactive language, we call that listening level 2, meaning What are the words? What's this person really wanting? We're listening for something. And we're listening level 3, which is around about energy and about noticing what's truly going on with our clients, right? However, when these other helpful voices start coming in, it can often throw us into what's called level 1. How am I doing? What do I think about that? Oh, here's what my idea of what my client should do. And my attention is all over here, right? That's actually your inside team at work. So let's go into this idea of meet your inside team and how it's going to apply to you as coach. Here's where we're going. We're just going to introduce this idea for another moment. And then I'm going to ask every person on this call to be noticing who are the players that show up for you when you start. This probably doesn't show up all the time in your coaching, but on occasion, when you've got someone who's a little intimidating, or you've got someone who doesn't say anything, you ask a question, they say 2 words, right? So check it out. As a coach, you know, it's easy to get seduced by all these different thoughts that start popping in your head as we go, right? Just read through this. So this just gives you the idea of inside team. And I'm only going to read because some of you may not be on cam, may not be able to see this right now. Meet your inside team. Inside of all of us is a collection of internal voices, hearts, and beliefs. We're going to call them players on your inside team. Sometimes they work really well together, and sometimes they don't. When your inside team is working together, things tend to flow. And when your inside team is not aligned or playing a game that you don't even want to play, you might start feeling anxious. You might start judging yourself. You might start judging your client for that matter. You might start doing any number of things, but it will have you not feel personally aligned and in flow.
So I just want to pause for a moment on what you just said. Because from my own experience, this is really powerful, is that if I'm not aware of the parts of myself that are showing up, I can tend to project them on someone else. Right? And like I'll like whether it's my client or it's like or it's someone who's doing something that doesn't meet my expectations, like that's actually how I know I'm not in alignment with my own parts, is I'm judging or labeling or projecting something on someone else.
Nice. So Allison, just as an aside here, we'll come back and do some other work, but I want you to notice you have just described one of your players.
Yeah.
You've just described a player who loves to project on other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just take a moment and notice. So as you start to notice that player, what's your sense of what it's trying to do?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Is it rhetorical? Yeah. I mean, it is trying to keep me safe. It's trying to keep me safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So that one, we may find that one a little bit later. I'm going to do a little demo with you. So who knows, that might show up again or not.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Great. So let's go a little forward into the slides here, just to have a thing. Yeah. So you get this idea of inside team, right? Here's what happens is we think, oh, it's just me coaching. There you are, and it's just you, and that's you as coach, right? Actually, that's not you as coach. That's a center part, but it's way not all of you as coach. Bring it on forward, Megan. Yeah. Maybe it is something like this. So what we have on the screen in front of us is a possibility of noticing an inside team. One who keeps judging everything. Oh, that was dumb. And one who's like worried. Oh, is this of value? And maybe another part of you that's going, oh, relax, just connect. Everything's fine. Sometimes these different parts are sort of shouting directly at us, like those orange arrows indicate. And sometimes they might be ignoring you altogether and just talking amongst themselves like a pinball game. Right? So here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and bring us the next slide. I want you to take just a moment now, you personally, every amazing, delicious, darling coach on this Podinar. And I want you, I'm going to be quiet for a moment. And I want you to notice when you're coaching, sometimes, who are the different players that you notice showing up? And just take a few notes for yourself. Take a moment with this, and if it works for you, Allison, I would love to have some people raise their hand and we can hear from a few people what they're noticing.
Great.
Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. All righty. So let's, who's willing to share what they're noticing about their coaching inside team? Oh, Barry Bettman, hi. Can we get Barry on? You're still muted.
Yeah,
Great.
Been forever. How are you?
I know. So well. Great to see you, Barry.
So first of all, what I want to say is that when I looked at the diagram, I didn't hear voices. I saw shapes. You know, like one shape was fat, one was oblong, and who knows how the circles were actually made. So then all of a sudden I go, oh my God, it's my mom, it's my dad, it's the teacher from third grade, and then all of a sudden I said, oh my God, maybe I'm like the client's father or mother, you know, because sometimes we talk about that. And then I thought, it's a whole cast of characters. And then one other thing is when you and the host was talking earlier about, you know, who's not there, I thought, well, wait a second, who is there that's supporting it? You know, grounded, centered me, my CTI coaches and people, and then all of a sudden I'll go from that to a whole different cast of characters. It's like the scenes change, you know?
Oh, super insightful.
Barry, one of the things that you're bringing to light, thank you so much, is that one way to work with inside team is to actually imagine it like you're watching a play or a movie, right? That it really is a cast of characters. And when we can start to see them, and by the way, some of you will get a strong visual image of like a character or a person. Some of you might get an animal. Some of you might get a like fog-like energy. It could be anything. Please don't think like you're doing it right. If you're just, maybe it's not even any kind of character. Maybe it's just some words they say. That's fine. However it works for you. is your way to work with this. Okay. Thank you, Barry. That was fabulous. And I see Rob Seidenspinner. When I was doing this work some years ago, I actually offered it as a coach training at one point. And by the way, that's coming back. Rob was one of my inside team supervisors. So I just want to, hey, Rob, what are you noticing today?
A lot comes up. So the different players, when I'm coaching, I have curious, I have focus, I have ICF competencies. Which competency is it? I have this one. There was 3, I think they were a gang or something, but it's speak or be quiet, don't talk, and oops, are you fixing? Are you fixing somebody? You know, so those were, you know, and it goes on and on from there, but what the hey.
That's so awesome.
That's so great. And Rob, I just want to acknowledge that one of the things that Rob is pointing to is that it's not unusual for these players to sort of sometimes run in little gangs or little groups and kind of play off of each other. And so thank you for that. Thanks, Rob. Great to see you here. Good. Anyone else just want to notice, say what they're noticing with their inside team so far? Hey there.
Hi. I was noticing the breather, just to regulate myself and to regulate the client.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And like also sometimes a container that expands
That's beautiful.
and really contains.
Well,
And it's like before becoming a coach, I became a trainer, and when I was entering the room, I was imagining that I have 2 long arms starting from my eye, and I could embrace. And today is the International Hugging Day, so I could hug all the room and see people have everything that they need. And this is to learn to really embrace with the eyes. And I was remembering that, and it's a very strong role, very old one.
Beautiful. Is it Irina or Irina? Irina, thank you so much. And one of the things I just want to invite you to do, you might already be doing it, is sometimes we hear someone else's inside team players and we think, oh, I want some of that. Right? So I'm like, oh yeah, let me have access. Let me have ally of the breather. And this hugger and holder of space. Thank you so much. Great. We're going to hear briefly from Anna and Sally, and then we're gonna move forward into a demo. Anna, what you got?
So it's interesting because in the beginning I thought judge, yep, judging me, maybe, having judgments. And then as I just started to think about it, my list is growing, and I've got certainly the judge, I've got cheerleader, the person with the answers or with the ideas. There's the parent. Is it a critical parent? Is it a nurturing parent? It depends. And sometimes it's the child with curiosity, with openness, with fear. And then there's the teacher, there's the nurturer, and there's just feelings, reactions.
That's fantastic, Anna. Thank you for naming those. That's a lot. You can really see that's a pretty strong inside team. One of the things I'm noticing so far in conversation with you all is this is a pretty sophisticated group. And so as you've grown as a coach, your self-management has grown. You've actually brought in more what I'm going to call allies. You're leaning into the players on your inside team that have you be ever more effective as a coach. And I still assert that from time to time, the other are going to come in sometimes. Yeah. Sally, what do you have?
I just have to say hi. I think you trained me back in 2002. in Toronto. It was great. That's why I'm here.
Thank you, Sally.
I'm noticing more and more of my inside players. One of them is the empathizer. One of them is the facilitator. I'm facilitating a process because I'm trying to help the client move in their process. One of them's the achiever. What the hell's going on here? And then I have another one which I call the come to Jesus moment client. So those are a couple.
Just out of curiosity, the one who the come to Jesus one, what's that one look like or feel like?
That one looks like when you know the client is just bullshitting themselves.
Right.
You have to intervene, and you have to say, wait a minute, what's really going on for you, client? What's this really about? That's the come to Jesus.
I assert that there's like it feels kind of like I really love that come to Jesus. So it's like there's this come to Jesus energy that is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sally. Those are great. Thank you. Oh, how about the procrastinator? Yeah, absolutely. You might have a procrastinator. I know I certainly have one when it comes to organizing my office. Okay, so let's take a look at where we are right now. I don't think there's anything else on the slides we want to talk about right now. Allison, would you like to do a full-on little demo with me here?
Absolutely.
Great. So we're going to show now that just a little context. You now have the idea of inside team. You now have the idea of an inside team for your coaching. And there's some different ways then to work with your inside team. And so one of them will probably come up as I work with Allison here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Good. So Allison, as you've been thinking in this conversation, what are you noticing about your coaching inside team?
Yeah, and I took a couple of notes, so I might be looking at my notes as we talk about this.
Perfect.
I'm noticing that there are inside team members that, in my experience, are vital instruments to the coaching, and that there are inside team members that I suspect kind of motivated by some form of fear.
Yeah.
Trying to make me okay. Their focus is on making sure I'm okay. And I'm noticing that some of the team members very definitely work together. Sometimes for the benefit of the coaching, and sometimes not so much.
All right. Are you willing to start to put them out so we can see them, get a sense of them?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You said that some are vital. Who are at least a couple of those very vital players?
There's one I call the witness. And the witness is able to be with whoever and whatever is.
And what's the witness? What are they, if you were to describe them as a character or human or whatever, what do you know? What do they look like?
The first thing that came up for me when you asked is a ray of sun, or the sun.
Great.
Like just invisible yet powerful potentially healing energetic force.
Beautiful. So you got the witness.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were to start to imagine a kind of stage in front of you, and this is your coaching inside team, where does the witness go on the stage?
Well, first, I'm just going with my intuition. It's like right here, front and center and up.
And up.
Like seeing all of it.
Got it. And then who else is there? Who else are these vital ones?
So there is the intuitive. That is really just comfortable, not needing to know, not needing to figure, not caring if it's right, just like it's somehow connected with what wants to happen. Yeah.
And what do they look like or act like?
Let me tune.
Like I'm noticing. So I just want to acknowledge this. So as some of you watch and you can see Allison, notice how as she expresses herself, her energy in her body changes, right? So witness was the sun. It was very up and now intuitive has this fast move like that. Yep.
Yeah. So there's something about intuitive that's like super like a will-o'-the-wisp. I don't even know what that means, but it's like, well, I don't know what I just know it's in the Sound of Music. So I'm like, it's just like, I'm just going to go with that because that's what the first thing that came up. But like, you can't see it, but it's there and you know it.
Wow. Very cool. Okay, good. Who else is there?
I couldn't come up with kind of like a word, but the best I could come up with like the flower truster. Like
okay,
the truster, and the truster just has this strong, gluey belief that whatever is happening is exactly perfect in what wants to happen. Like whatever it is, like whatever they show up, however they show up, however I show up is exactly right somehow.
I keep getting that there's some blue here. Isn't it?
I like that. Say more about that.
So I'm just getting like almost like a blue water that kind of goes like that.
Maybe an ocean. A huge body of water where we all are a drop of. Yeah, that works.
Very cool.
Me. Yeah.
So as you imagine this stage, how does that work?
Yeah, I feel like it's somehow insert like all around us, like encircling us, like almost suspended somehow. Or maybe we're all in it. Oh no, I think we're all in it.
Great. Very cool. Very cool. Now, is there anyone else that feels vital that it's important for you to name right now?
There's the heart. Yeah, the one that attends and attunes and appreciates and accepts.
Beautiful. Yeah. Boom. I just got that pop of red.
Yeah.
Is it like that? Was there a?
Yeah. I mean, I can. And there's both a spacious and a warm, energetic quality to it.
What a beautiful, I mean, you can just feel the richness and warmth of this coaching team, right?
No.
I imagine that much of the time, this is very much in sync.
Yeah.
What are you noticing about the dynamic or the way this team works together so far?
Yeah. So I'm realizing as we're talking that the team has a quarterback, and the quarterback is called the instrument.
Oh.
And the quarterback has this belief, and so there's another part of my inside team that has a lot to say about what I'm going to say.
Yes.
I'm just saying thank you. And what I'm going to say is that the quarterback of my inside team sees itself as an instrument of the universe.
Uh-huh. And what does this quarterback look like to you?
The gold is coming in through. Yeah, gold. Yeah, that's what's coming through, like a color.
So as you said, quarterback, I did get a football image. Is this a masculine energy?
It is absolutely masculine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yes.
And what's important that this quarterback brings to this team?
Just that, like it's all okay. Like it's all okay. Like it's all good. Like it's like, it's that like assurance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And just because we're doing this demo here, because it sounds like you've got you can feel it. It's like you can feel this flow, this ease. It makes total sense that you're a good and sought after coach, because that's there. And it sounds like most of the time when you coach, you're relaxed into it. Your self-management is good. You're curious, you're intuitive, you're moving things forward, all of those things, right? On occasion, I assert that there are at least one or two players who come in without your permission. Give us an idea of one or two of those.
Yeah. So I have a knower, and the knower one needs to know, and sometimes needs the client to know that they know. Because knowing is really important, Cynthia.
Oh yeah. So if you were to describe that knower, I suddenly got this sort of brown, like librarian dressed in brown image. Is it kind of like that?
You're cracking me up because you're just like voicing exactly what's in my head. That I got these spectacles and this dictionary in the arm, and yes.
What are they trying to do?
Well, I mean, I honestly, I believe like all of them are trying to protect me, but and have a fear. But this part really gets a lot of satisfaction from knowing. Like really is super like, ooh, that feels so good.
And how do they try to get into the coaching conversation?
Oh, when the client says something that I know,
about.
I know the answer to that, or or let me provide this resource, and it's never about that.
Yeah. So even is there anyone else that you want to just sort of bring out, name, that you're noticing gets in the way sometimes?
Sure. Mm-hmm. So there is a accomplisher.
Uh-huh.
And the accomplisher wants to make sure that that something freaking gets done. That there's a change underway. And then there's the figurer that just wants to figure out what's going on here
with your client.
Yeah. I'll figure it out, and then I'll tell them the answer.
So as you now imagine your inside team, and you have all of those that were like as they come out together, what are you noticing now about their interplayer dynamic?
That the members of the team that are, I'll represent them as what you called first level listening, like they turn toward me, are ones that get kind of triggered in some way by something, like a thought of mine or something the client says that makes me worried that this is going off the rails, or this is not valuable, or like,
So even as you say that, I get a sense that they just really want you to do well, and they're trying to contribute, but they kind of hijack you a little bit, or take over a little bit without your permission.
They can if I don't have a relationship with them.
So now that so we're just, because of, in the interest of time, we're gonna start to wrap this up today. That, by the way, there are so many more ways we could go with Inside Team here around this, but I just want to just bring this to a place for you as client. Just by doing this, just by starting to see your team and how they interact, what are you finding out?
It's been super clarifying, because it's not that I haven't thought some of these thoughts before, but I haven't solidified them in this way. And by taking the time to name them, I'm confident I'll be more aware of them when they show up. The real challenge is when they show up and they're just outside of my awareness, and I maybe only figure it out after the fact, after the client session. I kind of go, that didn't go well at all. I kind of go, what was going on with that? And I realize it's something, So I feel more confident now that I'll be able to spot these characters, these team players in the moment by something they say, or a color, or an energy I feel.
If there were one practice or one thing to be working with from this conversation, what might it be?
And
maybe you just said it.
The first thing that comes up for me is developing a relationship between the parts that serve me and the client, and then the parts that are afraid.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to just drop into the space an idea that you're sort of pointing to, Allison. It's normal with Inside Team. What tends to happen is as we notice some of them that want to come in that we did not invite in, quite often, if we take a moment, we can start to notice that there is an unconsciously designed alliance or agreement. Somehow we, many years ago, and I'm talking like we don't even know we did it. We made some kind of, we somehow said, yes, come in and help me with this. And what you're pointing to now is, okay, now that I have awareness, now that I can start to notice how stealth this one can be, right? How do I gain more clarity and start to create a conscious designed so I can have partnership with this energy rather than having it take over without my permission. And that, thank you so much, because that's exactly what I'm hearing you point to, Allison.
Yeah. I'll just share really briefly. I've started working with an IFS therapist, and there's some interesting overlap between this and that.
Yes.
And I was home not long ago, and I was having a conversation with my mom, and it was going really well, and blah, blah, blah. And then one of my parts, and I call it my what about me part, what about me, came up, and I could feel the relationship between me and my mom just completely changed. I was focused on me and what about me. And in the moment, I could say, it's okay. I see you. Like, it's all right. I'm here for you. Like, it's okay. And it could relax, and I could go on with like this really good conversation with my 89-year-old mom. Right. And so I feel it. And I think it's the work of a lifetime for me.
Absolutely. For all of us. Yes. Yeah, that's fantastic. And you're talking about IFS, internal family systems, which is very akin to this. Excellent work. Different, a little different. This absolutely is a little bit more coach level than therapeutic level. So it has a little bit more of a coaching stance.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks. So shall we somehow open this up for questions or see what's in the chat?
Let's do. So let's, Megan, if you'll be looking at what's in the chat, and then we'll take hands too. So Megan, what's in the chat that maybe we haven't attended to?
No questions, just a lot of comments. Are a lot of people loving the demo, but no questions yet. I see a hand up though.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yes.
Irina. Hi, it's me again. I was thinking, I was placing my hat of a psychodramatist and sociodramatist, and I was staging them. And in a group coaching session, the others could be the actors, and the protagonist, the hero, could train everybody in their roles. So interview in the role and then role reverse, and it's fabulous. And just imagine the next level when everybody has done this in a group coaching things, if they are a creative team, to find compatibilities between their team players. And like in Six Thinking Hats, now we activate the inquirers, now we activate it would be great.
Yeah, I love your creativity.
Very intimate, in a very intimate team. This could be a 3-stage.
Really talking about doing physical constellation work with all of this. It sounds fantastic. Thank you for your creativity. Barry, what do you have? Oops, you're muted still, sweet.
Okay, the person, Irene, that was really good. I like that idea about the 6 thinking hats in context with the cast of characters. I wrote something in the chat about what you said about an unconscious or a non-intentional design alliance with the cast of characters, like we agreed somewhere, versus making it conscious. I think that's brilliant from the viewpoint of they're there already, so why not invite them in, talk to them, and design them so they're part of it versus pushing them out. I've often heard, whatever resists persists, right? So I've got a couple that I push out and they keep wanting to come back. So why not invite them in? I think I like that. I'll do that.
Fabulous, Barry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to need to draw to a close here in just a minute. Megan, what were you going to say?
Oh, I'm sorry. We did get one more question. It was, how can we become more aware of our cast?
It's a great question. And one of the things that I would have you, Daniela, I would have you just start to notice it. Well, one way is by working with a coach who does this work. Let me be obvious, so that they can help you to find them. However, where I would point you in the meantime is to just start to notice different thoughts, different ideas that you have, and just jot those down. And that's going to help you. And also, just to give a shameless plug for my book, that has Meet Your Inside Team, that actually has some steps you can go through to help you discern who's talking. So that's another way to go.
And one more question that I think we're going to need to bring to a close. Question in the chat box was, how do we bring these team members into balance?
Yeah, what a great question. With a lot of human beings, with a lot of us, what's very normal is to have a really loud, negative sort of feeling inside team initially. Now, one of the things you got to see with Allison, she's been doing her work because her team has such a beautiful quality of interacting with each other and learning how to play off of each other. So that then, when that powerful, consciously designed team is there, it actually will help to provide balance. Very normally, the ones that freak out and get upset, they're often very loud. And so just like in our society today, it's easy to think that the loud voices are the right ones or the ones that we should pay attention to. They're just loud. They're not more real or not real than any other. But sometimes it's hard to remember that. Hopefully that helps the idea. What if there's no supportive member who comes up? Yeah, that's absolutely something to work with a coach on, to really ground in your core and your powerful adult self or leader within, depending on how you work with that. And there will be some positive ones. It's just that those tend to be quiet, while the loud ones can often feel more crazy making.
About a year ago, I can't remember, we had Dick Schwartz on, and one of the things he's said is that he's worked with obviously thousands of people at this point using his approach, and he said he in every single person he's ever met, there is a self, a caring, courageous, confident, consistent, compassionate, even in psychopaths. I mean, he said probably the only place he might not have found it is people that have had brain damage. But every single person, there is that. And it's about, as Cynthia said, finding it, working with a coach or working with whoever you need to do to find it.
That's right. And Dick Schwartz is the person who created internal family systems, I believe. So that's, Oh, there we go. There's a picture of my book.
Yeah. So Meet Your Inside Team, how to turn conflict into clarity and move forward with your life. So check it out. Having those steps could be really vital for you and for your clients. So if you want to learn more about Cynthia, you can follow her on the socials here. There are a couple things we wanted you to know about. I am teaming up with David Drake. I'm super stoked about this. David and I are doing a 3-part series on client relationships that heal, using attachment theory in coaching relationships. So super stoked about that. The first session is on January 26th at 1:30 Eastern. It'll go for an hour. The first session is completely free. The 3 sessions are $97 for all 3. If you like the first one, and we hope you sign up for the free class, but if you wait to sign up for all 3, you won't get the price discount. But if you sign up for all 3 now. So David's going to do the first session on using attachment theory to understand and enrich coaching relationships. I'm going to take the second session on using attachment theory to understand how clients relate to themselves, relate to others, relate to their lives. And then we're going to have a conversation in the third session talking about attachment theory and narrative coaching and relational intelligence and how all that comes together. Super stoked about that. And then we've got another class coming up. It's a 2-session class, and it's called Feeling as a Path to Meaning. It's all about coaching clients that feel too much and coaching clients that feel too little. So we all have clients, I would imagine, who have a lot of energy. Their emotions have a lot of energy. They might be whipped about on the waves of their emotion. And we're going to talk about how you can support those clients who feel a lot and have may have difficulty accessing their most supportive qualities so that they actually aren't showing up as creative, resourceful, and whole because they're being tossed about by their emotions in that moment. And then there are other clients who maybe don't feel enough. They have disassociated themselves from their feelings and everything's always great. How do you reconnect them with their feelings in order for them to find a path to their own meaning for themselves? So that's a 2-session class. I think Megan's putting the links to all these things into the chat box. You can link right on them there. And thank you so much.